Welcome to the Advent 2017 series of The Black Madonna Speaks with me, your host, Stephanie Georgia. I am the author of The Black Madonna Mysterious Soul Companion. I'm so excited that you are joining me in this journey towards Christmas. In terms of the liturgical year, I must confess that Advent truly is my favorite season. In the Methodist Church where I grew up, I loved everything about Advent. I loved the colors of Advent, the deep purple of the altar cloth and vestments, the greenery of the decorations. I loved the music. But also, since I'm in the Northern Hemisphere, I really treasure the long, dark nights of the season. Where I am this Advent, the sun sets at about 4 p.m. and does not rise until 7 a.m., which means I'm thoroughly enjoying the rich velvety darkness of the season. Spiritually, Advent is a reflective and inward time, much like the Northern Hemisphere's experience of December. And yet, popular materialistic culture is full of frenzied behavior during this time of year. Every year, everyone complains about the hectic nature of the season, and yet they continue to participate. I hope you set aside time to relish in the darkness of Advent this year and to start new traditions of turning inward during this holy season. As I grew up in Southern California and spent most of my life there, I had the delightful experience of being exposed to Mexican culture. In fact, Southern California used to be part of the colony of New Spain, and then it was part of the nation of Mexico. But before the Spaniards and Americans took over the area, it was inhabited by natives who had been part of the land for thousands and thousands of years. Mexican culture is truly a syncretic one, combining native, European, and African traditions into an explosion of tastes, sounds, colors, and festivals. If you ever visit Southern California or any of the American border states, along with both Mexico and the United States, you'll notice that families and traditions do not recognize borders. Another thing you will notice when you come to this part of the world is that everywhere you look, cars, walls, businesses, clothing, churches, they all display a unique image of a woman in a turquoise mantle with stars and a salmon-colored dress. And sometimes she's pictured bowing her head in prayer. When I say this image is everywhere, I mean it is everywhere. The image is also known as the Virgin of Guadalupe. As I was preparing for my first lectures on the Black Madonna, as an American, I wanted to see if there were any Black Madonnas on the American continent. A casual Google search produced the Virgin of Guadalupe. She is considered to be a Black Madonna because of her mestizo appearance and native Mexican symbolism. While I was familiar with the story of her apparition, I was not familiar with what she represented and represents now in terms of the relationship between humanity and divinity. As I delved into her story and symbolism further, it became more all-consuming and revelatory than my original Black Madonna study. I'm in the process of the final editing for a book on the subject called The Virgin of Guadalupe, Messenger of Destiny. And I hope that you will enjoy this. I plan to publish it in the middle of 2018. So make sure to subscribe to this channel and like the Heart of the Black Madonna on Facebook for updates on publishing and speaking tours. Now, the Festival of Guadalupe takes place every year from the 9th to the 12th of December. And this is to commemorate the original apparitions, which took place in 1531 to a native Nahuatl peasant during those same 4 days of December in 1531. The Virgin appeared several times to this native, who was christened as a Christian, and his name was Juan Diego. His new Christian name was Juan Diego. She also appeared to his uncle Juan Bernardino. And finally, on December 12th, 1531, at 10:40 a.m., she appeared to the Bishop of New Spain in Mexico City, Juan Zumarraga, and his entourage. In this final apparition, as you can see by this modern artistic rendition, the final apparition imprinted her image, the image of the Virgin of Guadalupe, onto the rough cactus fiber outer garment of Juan Diego. This outer garment is called a tilma. And this is where this image is still available to view today. In areas where there is large diasporas of Mexicans, the Festival of Guadalupe every December is one long party with music, dancing, special feasts, and church services. The Los Angeles Cathedral, Our Lady of Angels in Los Angeles, California, has special dramatic presentations and masses where participants in native Aztec costumes dance and sing to celebrate the miracle of Guadalupe. If you are ever in Los Angeles for this festival, I highly encourage you to go because it's truly, truly amazing. It's a beautiful celebration of this miracle, but also a deep celebration of Mexican culture, Mexican-American culture. Now in Mexico City, the Festival of Guadalupe is bigger than Christmas. Now, the Shrine of Guadalupe is in Mexico City, and it's built on and next to the original area of the apparition, the original apparitions. And basically, the city shuts down for this festival. They close down roads, and pilgrims from all over Mexico flood into the city to go to the shrine for an amazing series of masses, festivals, dancing, feasting. It's truly, truly beautiful. And we can see these are some of the pictures that I took on my journey. I did have a wonderful opportunity to attend this festival. And this is a lot of gentlemen who are not dressed in Aztec costumes dress up as Juan Diego. And you can see them with their recreation of the tilmas. And we see the Aztec dancers. And what this does, what these festivals commemorate, is when the tilma was imprinted on that day in December 12th, 1531. The natives of the city just went wild. And they were dancing and singing and so happy because they felt that the divine world came to them and they felt very blessed. So the original celebrations were of the natives dancing in the streets. And this is recreated in these very beautiful color festivals of this celebration in Mexico City. Now, what you see in front of you is the old cathedral that was built in the 1600s. And up behind that, on the top of the hill, is a small cathedral, actually a small chapel, which commemorates the place where the original apparitions occurred, where the Lady of Guadalupe, the Virgin of Guadalupe, came to Juan Diego on several occasions. So what I would like to do today, the book, as I said, is in the final editing phases, and it's rather exhaustive in terms of how it looks at this image, every aspect of the image. But what I would like to do today during our time together is to focus on just one aspect of this image. Now, Juan Diego is the native who first witnessed the apparitions of Guadalupe. And what's very special about these apparitions of Guadalupe is that most of the Marian apparitions we hear of, particularly in Europe, the Virgin is up in the air and she's looking down on her adoring devotees. Now, with the Virgin of Guadalupe, she's walking on the earth, and she meets Juan Diego, and she speaks to him in his native language. And this is very symbolic because the natives were not feeling very special during the days leading up to these apparitions. So for her to speak in a native tongue to a peasant was very significant. Now, Juan Diego, he was canonized in 2002. And there was an Institute for Guadalupan Studies that was founded before this event next to the cathedral in Mexico City. And this institute was established to research the history and phenomena associated with the image and Juan Diego. Now, an excellent overview, if you would like a more complete study of this, is in a book that was written in 2008, and it's called Our Lady of Guadalupe, Mother of the Civilization of Love by Monsignor Eduardo Chavez and Carl Anderson. Now, Monsignor Eduardo Chavez is the priest that argued for the beatification and sainthood of Juan Diego. Carl Anderson is a member of the Knights of Columbus, and they collaborated to write this book, which I think is one of the best on the subject. And it really explores the history and culture of Mexico and the deep meanings of the image. Now, we know that the revelation and imprinting of the Virgin of Guadalupe on Juan Diego's tilma took place on December 12th, 1531 at 10:40 a.m. Now, this is a recreation of this image, which you can find in San Juan Capistrano at the cathedral there. This is a modern rendition, but it's very indicative of the imprinting. But what I want you to notice is you can see these little stars on her mantle. And this is a picture of the original image, and we can also see these stars as well. Now, because we know that the imprinting on the tilma took place on December 12, 1531 at 10:40 a.m. in Mexico City, which is now modern-day Mexico, through the miracle of astronomical calculations and modern computers, we can get a picture of exactly what the heavens looked like at the precise moment of the apparition. We also know that the image has stars on the mantle which correlate exactly to what was in the heavens at that time. And so we can take a picture of what the heavens looked like, and we can overlay this on the image, and then we see that the stars correlate. It's very fascinating. So in order to understand this better, what I did in the preparation for this book and my lectures was to visit an astrosopher, and his name is Brian Gray, and he, at that time, was at the Rudolf Steiner College. And I visited him in December 2012 to see what his insights were on the message that the heavens were trying to convey nearly 500 years ago. So what Brian did was he took the times of the images, the apparitions, which were mainly at dawn on these 4 days, except the last day. And then we plugged in the date and time of the last apparition. And he produced some star charts on the apparitions and basically interpreted them. Now, a more full discussion of this, as well as the star charts, will be published in my book. And but what I can tell you is that when you really look at what the heavens were saying during this time, it really lends credence to the fact that this is truly a miraculous image, and it's a divine message of love and support to humanity, both during a very difficult time in human evolution, particularly for the natives of the area, but also for us in the Americas and on Earth during this era. So I'm just going to read a small excerpt of my book on the interpretations of the star chart for the imprinting of the tilma on December 12, 1531 at 10:40 a.m. Now, when you look at the heavens at that time, you look at where the stars were and also where all the planets are. That's where we pick up. So the Venus forces in the tilma chart are associated with the sun. The sun forces are imprinting on the human heart and soul with a feeling of loving sacrifice. Venus is connecting humanity with love and affection. The teaching is that the human body is going to prepare for the incarnation of the great world ego of the Christ. In both charts, the arts are well represented, specifically since Virgo has such a prominent position in both representations. We often overlook the artistic aspect of the spirit. Sophia is the supreme cosmic artist. In the Guadalupe event, this is expressed in the art of the imprinting of the tilma. She is also evident in all of the beauty we see in the natural and cosmic world. Everything we see with the senses is permeated with wisdom, with Sophia, and the sense world conveys this to us. The word art is in the word heart, and it is interesting since the imprinting of this beautiful image was done on Juan Diego's chest, over his heart. In this imprinting, we see the mysteries of art being connected with the mysteries of the heart, and Virgo, Sophia, connecting them all. The metamorphosis of all the charts from the 9th to the 12th of December in 1531, we see the mysteries of the heart turn into an artistic expression. So again, I'll get more into this into the book, but just to look again at the picture of the heavens at this time, overlaid on the image and showing where the stars match up, it's quite amazing. And your takeaway from this experience is showing that the Virgin of Guadalupe is a direct revelation of the care and love of the spiritual world for humanity, as well as a blueprint for the future of humanity. It is very significant, this event, this imprinting, this image of this native Madonna happened on the North American continent at the time that it did. What is also interesting is the Shrine of Guadalupe is the most visited of any Marian shrine on Earth. More people visit this shrine than the Vatican every year. What is also very interesting is what the Virgin said in her many conversations with Juan Diego. And this is what I would like to leave you with during the end of our time together. The Virgin says to Juan Diego, "Where are you going?" And she also tells him to build me a temple, build her a temple. So I invite you to think about this on these lovely, dark, velvety nights during this Advent season, when during the Advent of 1531, this image came to a native peasant and spoke to him and looked him in the eye and asked him these questions. Now, the images in this presentation were obtained from Wikimedia Commons, as well as my own photographs from Mexico, Los Angeles, and Santa Ana, California. If you would like to get a copy of the Black Madonna Mysterious Soul Companion, it is available through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Audible, and through the Espresso Book Machine, which is basically publishing on demand. I also invite you to subscribe to this channel and like the Heart of the Black Madonna on Facebook, and follow at BL Madonna on Twitter for updates on speaking engagement, tours, and publishing information.